Hello everybody, ProtoFoxy coming back at you with another video. We are continuing the Energon love on this channel, just like I said I would. And today we are going to be looking at the Transformers Energon Demolishor, the first one now. Actually, no, I think this was, I may be incorrect. This is how he looked in his first appearance on the show, but I believe this toy was made available after his reformatted dump truck appearance. This was a KB exclusive toy. And as you can see, he is a redeco of his original Armada incarnation, the missile tank. And I will say something about this because I have an unconditional love. Well, I have an unconditional love for mid-2000 or early 2000s Transformers anyway. It's when I got back into collecting, blah, blah, blah. But Demolishor is easily one of my favorites. Not just because, you know, the character was kind of the dopey yes man in Armada, and then he in turn had, you know, he was questioning his allegiance in Energon. He had a really good character arc up until he got reformatted, and they just screwed the pooch with that and made him a mindless gorilla, but I digress. But the thing about this particular mold in general, going back to Armada, the original Armada toy was my first Armada toy. And I love the design. I love the big missile tank. And here we're going to get in close because there's just a lot of awesome detailing. He's got the Constructicon colors going on. He's got some of the weathering going on. And now this is actually as his Minicon falls off the front. We'll show Minicon interactions in a minute. This is weathering done, right? It looks good. But yeah, he's got the classic green and purple Constructicon color scheme. I love that a lot. Molded in Decepticon logo. Back then on the Armada toys, that's clean molding. I mean, look at that. That's not tampograph. That's not a sticker. That's actually, and you can see it's even raised up. That's molding, and that's done really well. And the paint was done really well. The paint is done just incredibly good on this figure, you know, in general. It's a great looking, great decoed figure, however you want to put it. It looks good all around. And I've got a massive soft spot for Demolishor because he was my first experience with Armada when Armada hit the shelves, the original toy. So I love it. Oh, and I love the design and all that stuff. The robot mode is cool. This, that, and the other thing. And even the Minicon gimmicks and playability are there. Like, we'll go ahead before we check out his Minicon Blackout. We'll do one of the gimmicks now. He can actually launch from the front. So again, the playability is there. And then we got Blackout here, and he's just another little, like, maybe gun truck thing, however you want to call it. And then, of course, he's got a little satellite dish. Oh, my God, I missed that bit of dust. He's got a little satellite dish. These go up like this. In interacting with his Demolishor's vehicle mode, you had to put that down to the side and fold that down just to launch him, as you can see. But just a little gun truck. And then, of course, his robot mode comes here, and you can see the Minicon port, and we'll get to that in a bit. But, you know, good-looking little Minicon. And nicely painted, as you can see. I mean, there's a little overspray here and there. But considering that he's a Minicon, and as you can see, I've got gigantic hands, so he's a tiny little thing, and he's one of the taller ones. But, you know, all in all, decent for a little Minicon. He's got articulation in the legs and in the shoulders. His knees, you know, more for transformation go that way. They bend back a little further, but basically he's more just like a static kind of standing thing. But Minicons were made to interact with the bigger bots, of course. And in robot mode, he can, in fact, interact by piloting the tank. So he's got his little chair there, sits down, and he's actually just piloting old Demolishor around. So that's a pretty neat little thing he can do. And then, of course, in vehicle mode, and we'll just go ahead and leave the guns folded down like that. You got all the different Minicon ports here. He's got 4 of them. One of which, this is a static port where you can just attach them there. Because these missiles here do not launch. These are spare missiles. These missiles here on this side do in fact launch, and what I like about this is that pegging in the Minicon actually has it to where you can activate the mechanism that pushes forward a bit on a plunger, and then you pull back and they'll launch. I'm not going to let that launch across the living room, but, and of course so it sits there like that. But let's get down to the, and of course in vehicle mode he even does in fact have articulation. His turret turns, you can aim the missile launchers up, this, that, and the other thing, and then of course he's got the gun, so he's more like a surface to air missile tank, however you want to call it. Let's get that off of there. Let's get him into robot mode, and much like any other Armada toy, the transformation itself isn't difficult at all. No, I gotta go the other way. And if you do have any other version of Demolishor, because they released 4 different versions. You had the Armada Demolishor, then you had the Power Links Demolishor, which was a redeco. Then you have this one, which is Energon Demolishor, and then they redecoed him again with a Cyber Key with Sans Minicon in Cybertron, which one of these days I'll talk about, because I have that one and I have this one. I used to have every version of the toy, but I've since offloaded them. I believe my son has my original Demolishor, but enough of that. We'll transform as we're yapping along. And again, pretty basic stuff when it comes to transforming Armada, early 2000s Transformers that weren't RID-01. I believe, oh yeah, no, these go down. Those go down for the hips. Then that spins around. Put that back that way. And then these fold down to form the arms, of course. And then split the chest apart, or the turret apart to reveal the chest, and then the head, and boom, we have Energon Demolishor. And that's a mean looking boy right there. Like, again, the character was, the dopey yes man, more just a weapons platform in Armada. He's fiercely loyal to Megatron, all that stuff. But he is a big bruiser looking dude. I mean, that's an intimidating robot mode. Let's get in. More of the detail, obviously, you can see stuff carried over from vehicle mode. More green comes out, especially in the chest. That head sculpt is absolutely amazing. I love that. But yeah, and then articulation-wise, early 2000s Transformer that wasn't RID-01. Swivel. He's got a bicep. Would you call that a hinge? And an elbow hinge. So you get about like that for range of movement. He does not have hands. He has guns for fingers because he's a tank, and that's awesome. Same thing on that side. And now his hips can go out because those are on hinges due to transformation. They can kick forward, kick back, all that good stuff. And he does have a workable knee bend. Posability, he can do decent things posing-wise. I mean, again, you do have to fiddle with him a bit. He does have a substantial heel spur, enough to where you can balance him. Again, posability and that of the likes, articulation and posability was less the focus on these lines and more just gimmicks and playability were the focus. And I feel like he hits it on all cylinders here. He can hold some cool poses. He's definitely got the playability. His gimmicks are still active in robot mode. Obviously, this launcher, you can flip that back, and he did do that in the show where he flipped his arms this way, and it was like an attack mode. But all of that's there, and of course, static Minicon ports on his forearms and his other shoulder. But he looks good. I have him. You're never going to tell me that the Demolishor toy is a bad toy, because I've got just such nostalgic soft spot for this figure, because again, the mold itself was my first experience with Armada, and it looked cool. And yeah, coming out of RID-01, he was lacking in posability, but I didn't care because he was meant to be just this big bruiser. He looked intimidating, and of course he stood a little taller than even some of the RID-01 Deluxes when I got my, when a lot of the Armada toys did, because they were meant to be bigger and chunkier. So it was like, okay, in my collection, he even looked a bit bigger and beefier and a bit more intimidating. But I love this guy. I love every version of Demolishor, and at points I'm still kind of depressed that I got rid of the other 2 decos from Armada, because I had the Energon one and I have the Cybertron one. But I've got 2 Demolishors. That's all. That's what I need for my collection. Obviously, I was downsizing, blah, blah, blah. I've told the story a million times. We're not going to talk about it, but that's where that lies. That's where it's at. Energon Demolishor. I love the deco. I love the figure. He's definitely cool. He definitely looks mean and tough, ready to just, blow up everything. He's got all of the guns, and he's just a lot of fun. Oh, yeah, and waist articulation. So, yeah, he can even... There you go. So, yeah, he's just a mobile missile platform of Decepticon destruction. There we go. And I love him. And he's just a big, doofy brute, and he's just a lot of fun. And this toy is a lot of fun. Now, much like Cyclonus, I don't think I mentioned at the top of the video, this was a KB Toys exclusive. Availability was rough around them because KB was really going through the whole shit. And then, of course, they closed a little while after. I don't have the year. Somebody can put it in the comments below, blah, 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 blah. But exclusive toys in KB were difficult to come by then. And to tell you the truth, I know a lot of the KB exclusive stuff fetches a higher price on the secondary. So if this is something that strikes your fancy, just be prepared. You're going to be paying a few more bucks than you would any other Demolishor. But if you just want a Demolishor, you can hunt down any of the other ones. I think the Cybertron one was not an exclusive and a bit wider available. But either way, I would suggest this one just because I like Energon and I love the Energon paint scheme, blah, 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 blah. I've yacked on enough about my love for Demolishor and my love for early 2000s Transformers for now, so I will leave y'all with this. I do recommend it. Just be prepared. You're going to probably pay a little bit more because it was a KB exclusive. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you did, shoot a subscribe my way. I would greatly appreciate it. Do not forget to tune in to the ProtoFoxy YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Central Tuesday nights for the Gaming Ain't Easy podcast, where a bunch of buddies of mine and we will get together and just talk about video games and stuff like that and shenanigans. We just have a lot of fun. It's a bit more adult oriented, so be prepared for that. It means there's F-bombs that get dropped every now and again. Anywho, all of that said, I will leave you all with this. Be kind to yourself and your fellow human beings, because life is too short, so play on, and I will see you in the next video. Everybody can use a little Demolishor in their life, so y'all need to look into getting one of